Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is HeroQuest, and today I'm going to be opening up some miniatures. Not just any miniatures, actually just kind of any miniatures, just a random assortment of miniatures. And the reason that I wanted to do this is because I wanted to just bust open completely unrelated miniatures and see if I could get some sort of inspiration as to how to use them in HeroQuest. I have 4 different miniatures here from various different lines, different IPs, different brands. I got these, despite their prices on the blister packages themselves, for about $1 a piece from my friendly, kinda local game store. This place had these in stock for so long that they put them into the dollar bin, and that's where I was more than happy to relieve them of their burden. So I have my HeroQuest Classic as well as 2021 miniatures out here on the table so that we can compare scales for all of these guys I'm going to open up. And we'll go ahead and start with this one. This is Teak Warriors. There are 2 of them, and it is part of the Dark Heaven Legends by Reaper. These are metal miniatures. They originally retailed for $9. I'd like for you to have now some opening package ASMR. Oh, be careful. There's a staple there, exactly where I tried to open. There's staples all over the dang thing. Wow. Okay, hold on. We're going to be a little safer than that. We just took in a brand new packaged set of these Teak Warriors out of the world. They are now unboxed. We can tell that this is Reaper Minis because we have Sophie, or is it Sophia, the succubus. She is their mascot. We also have the very friendly, not a toy, not for children under 14. This product contains small components and should be considered a choking hazard. Really hate the California Proposition 65 statement. This product contains chemicals that could make you sick or cause reproductive harm. I guess has a lot to do with it being pewter. As long as we wash our hands, I think that's not supposed to be an issue. And as long as we're not like melting it down and breathing in the fumes. A lot of things do carry that proposition warning because they're just trying to warn you about what could happen if you try to change the state of it. Here they are for the most part. They are very much Sahagin, and that's what I'm going to call them when I put them in my classic HeroQuest game. These guys will essentially be the Abominations. If you want to introduce Abominations into your classic HeroQuest game and just keep them right alongside the Fomorians that you have already, you can do that. You can just introduce them as Sahagin or Fish People, or you can continue to call them Abominations. They can have a totally unique backstory that you yourself can devise, but one of the ideas I had is that they are experimental forces that are being constructed by the evil magic of Zargon. You could also say that they are summoned from the deep by Morcar. These guys aren't just by themselves. They do come with 2 sprues, one of which I've already broken off an arm and one of the jaws, because the arms, jaws, tails, and weapons come separate, or at least the tail of one of these. The other one does still have his tail. They have slightly different poses, very slightly different sculpts, so there is a little bit of dynamic difference between the 2 of them. However, there is no mistaking that they are part of the same monster group. These guys are going to be absolutely fantastic in my old game. So, what would I do with these? You notice they don't really stand up that well on their skinny bases. A little bit of kit bashing if you're like me and you want to rebase everything on classic HeroQuest bases. You won't have any problems with that. In fact, I go as far as to sand this stuff down or cut it loose, grind it off. And that, my friends, is where that Prop 65 warning comes in. Be very careful that you're not inhaling particles of the dust if you are sanding this stuff or grinding it down. That is what can make you sick. These guys will have, I would say, the same stats as a Fimir or an Abomination, but I would go the extra mile in allowing them to attack diagonally because they do seem like they're a little bit more lanky, a little bit more reachy. They're reachy boys. They have very long, clawed hands on very long, slender arms. I would also give them some additional movement if you were going to have any sort of dungeon or quest where there is water anywhere. If you're going to have water in a room, like a flooded room or a room that is rapidly flooding with water, or if you were going to have water out in the hallways, that is where I would give these guys extra movement. You could do that, and you could also slow their movement if there's going to be just very dry places. You could still have them in the dry place, but since they really like water, they could be a bit slower, they could be a little bit weaker. They're pretty terrifying. They're missing their bottom jaw currently, but the bottom jaw is separate. And that is more or less what this guy is going to look like when his jaw is glued on. terrifying. I love it. All right, this next one is from Magnificent Egos, I think. Uncommon characters. It's a bard, sculpted by Bobby Jackson. I guess it actually retailed for $5.99. This whole line is to provide you with alternative choices for generic, just RPGs and war games. So, I mean, works for me. So we have what looks to be a female bard here. So another unboxing. This time, a much safer package. The blister package just actually opens right up. It's designed to pop open rather than be cut or ripped apart. We get a free sponge. We could use that, maybe. Do you keep your sponges for any reason? Here's our lovely bard in fine detail. She's really, really cool. We got to straighten out the staff. Lots of things to like about this sculpt. She's got a bit of a pirate motif almost, with the way she's got a head wrap and flowing clothing. She has really tall boots, and this bit here hanging down, that could be interpreted as a sash. It could be interpreted as a sheathed sort of curved sword. She has masks of comedy and tragedy, indicating she's more than just a musical bard. This is a more generic interpretation, a broader, I should say, interpretation. She's able to be an actress. She has a small, unassuming backpack on her back. Anything could be in it. She has a pretty sizable lute or guitar at her side. Really, whatever you wanted to make that out to be. It almost looks like a bass guitar, but really cool. I like that. And the strap is even hanging off of it correctly, I might add. Love this sculpt, love this mini. This is going to take on the Bard stats from the 2021 edition of HQ, and she will be right at home in the classic edition. Next up is another Magnificent Egos, but this one has a name. This is Akhilesh Rakshasa Sultan, a sculpt by Jason Weeb, and the blister package is a lot more rip-apartable. Our sponge that we get to use for whatever. We have a couple of things here. We have an arm holding a club with a skull at the end. And then we have the sculpt apart from that. The sculpt I picked up because he looked awesome. He was very well proportioned, I think, relative to my classic miniatures. He has an awesome tiger head or lion head, any sort of big cat head, really. If you don't want to be too technical about it, you could paint this up, recontext it, make it however you want. He looks really heroic and dynamic. He looks like he is ready to fight. The arm is pegged, so it slides right in there. It's going to be really easy to glue that in. And you have a little bit of flex, so you can kind of change this pose a little bit. I'd rather have this club pointing as upward as possible, but man, he looks awesome. I really like him, down to his pointed shoes. Our last miniature is Kea the Reaper. ICSTD, I don't know what that means. She retailed for $4.99. Again, got her for $1. Let's open her up. That was fun. This is an all-in-one sculpt. She's just one sculpt. And again, very dynamic pose, really awesome looking sculpt. I really like her. She is really cool. Have I overused the word really? No? Okay, good, because I'm going to keep using it. You may use her as a female barbarian. She is very much ready to charge into the fields of battle, wielding this crazy weapon. It is a huge sort of, well, it's almost a sort of flail. I know that somebody, a weapons buff, could come in here and tell me exactly what it is, but it is essentially a long staff weapon with a very short, flexible section, and then just a huge spiky part on the end. This could be used akin to a Morningstar, but the handle portion that makes up the giant staff is way too long, so this could definitely do double or even triple duty as a variety of different weapons. It's got a really sharp point on the other side. I would almost try to use this as a villain first, and then maybe turn it into a hero or an NPC or a mercenary of some kind. She has long, pewter flowing locks and a pretty sizable dagger at her side. I think it's pretty obvious that these guys were made to be the heroic scale, so of course I think they're going to fit better with the older miniatures. Not that I'm too picky. If you wanted to use one of these at your new miniature table, they would not be unwelcome, I think. Except the fish people, I think they would look a lot less threatening than the existing abominations, so that's a consideration. There's our bard. You could say that she's still an orc bard. She's maybe 1/8 orc, She doesn't even have her bottom fangs. Her skin is just slightly green, and she likes to say unga. She whaws gently in the night. Alright, I really just wanted to open up my blister packages and talk about HeroQuest. I hope that's okay with you guys. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.